Welcome, today we will learn how to declare and use variables in Java. A variable declaration is an avoidable part of Java programming. In this video we will have two parts. Part 1 is about theoretical concepts of variables and Part 2 is about practical demonstration using Eclipse IDE. Part 1, Theoretical Concepts of Variables. What is a variable? In Java, a variable is a named storage location that holds data that can be modified during the execution of a program. As you see here, we have 4 variables having different values. When we declare a variable, the variable will be allocated a memory location on the RAM. Then after we can put different values in the memory location that is held by the variable we referenced. Here for example I equals 10, I is a variable that hold a memory location and 10 is a value stored on that location. Declaring a variable. In Java, before using a variable, we have to declare it first. Declaring variable means in short creating a variable. A variable declaration can consist the following 6 components. 1. A variable type which is optional. 2. Access modifier, it is also optional. 3. Data type, it is mandatory. 4. Variable name, which is also mandatory. 5. Initial value, which is optional with some exception. 6. The semicolon. Now let's see each of them one by one briefly. A variable type, there are different types of variables. We can group them under 2 broader categories. The first category is a type of variables based on where we declare them. In this group there are 3 types of variables such as class variables, local variables and parameter variables. Let's see their difference briefly. 1. Class variables, variables declared in the class but outside of any method or constructor or block are known as class variables. As you see in this example, we have a class named Michaelis consisting 1 method, 1 constructor and 1 block. So variables which declared right here outside any of method or constructor or method are known as class variables. These variables are accessible throughout the class. The second type of variables are local variables. Variables declared in the body of methods or constructors or blocks are known as local variables. As you see here, the local variables are declared in the body part of the method or constructor or block. These variables are only accessible in the method or constructor or block where they are declared. The third type of variables are parameter variables. These variables are declared as a part of method declaration or signature. These types of variables are used to pass a values when the method or constructor which hold the parameter is called. Now let's see the types of varies lies under second category, which is based on actual behavior. The first type of variables under this category are instance variables. These are the variables associated with instance of the class. These variables can hold various values depending on the object. This means each object of the class can have its own copy of this variables and can assign different values. These variables are accessible throughout the entire class. Therefore these variables typically needs to be declared outside of any method or constructor or block. By the way, we will see what a method and constructor are in the next video. As you see here, instance variables are declared right here. The second types of variables are static variables. Static variables, also known as class variables, in Java are declared at the class level, outside of any method, constructor, or block. These variables are associated with the class rather than with instances of the class. These variables are declared with static keyword. Changes made to a static variable in one instance will be reflected in all instances. This means if we make any change on static variable, the value will be changed for all instances of the class. Dears, you can declare static variable if you want to create a variable, its value can be shared by all objects. As you see here, we can declare static variable right here. The third type of variables are final variables. In Java, the final keyword is used to declare a variable, method, or class as immutable or unchangeable. When applied to a variable, final indicates that the variable's value cannot be modified once it has been assigned. There are several contexts in which the final keyword can be used. When used with a variable, final ensures that the variable's value cannot be changed after it has been assigned once. This applies to both instance variables and local variables. Dears, we can declare a final variable anywhere in the class. Note that every final variable needs to be given an initial value, and do not try to change the value of final variable somewhere else in the program. This results a compiler error. Using final variables can make your code more robust, maintainable, and safe in certain situations. For example, it can help prevent unintended modifications to variables and ensures that the intended behavior of a method or class is preserved. Access modifiers. When declaring a variable, it is a crucial idea to think about its access modifier. In Java, access modifiers are keywords that specify the visibility or accessibility of classes, methods, and variables in a program. There are 4 main access modifiers in Java, such as public, protected, default, and private. A variable with public access modifier is accessible to the world or to any. That means everyone can access that variable. A variable with protected access modifier is accessible in the class where it is declared, in the package, and in the subclasses even outside the package. A variable with default access modifier are accessible in the class they declared and in the package only. Private variables are accessible only in the class where they are declared. Therefore, it is a good practice to control an access level of variables by providing their access modifiers. Data types. We have seen that when declaring variable, considering its type and its access level is very important. Now we will see different data types that we can use to declare a variable. Deciding appropriate data type when declaring a variable is very important as it is mandatory. In Java, variables are associated with data types, which define the type of data that a variable can hold. Java is a statically typed language, meaning that the data type of a variable must be declared before the variable is used. The data types in Java can be categorized into 2 main groups: primitive data types and reference or non-primitive data types. String, array, and other user-defined data types are known as non-primitive data types, while Boolean and numeric data are known as primitive or basic data types. A Boolean variable can hold either true or false value. Numeric data type again divided into character and integral data types. A variable that holds character data can be declared using char keyword, and each character can be represented by 16 bits. Integral data type again classified into 2, integer and floating point. Integer data type represents a numeric value that does not have decimal point, while floating point data type represents a numeric value with decimal points. Integer variables can be declared using byte, short, int, and long keywords. A variable declared as byte can hold an integer that can be represented by 8 bits. A variable declared as short can hold an integer that can be represented by 16 bits. A variable declared as int can hold an integer that can be represented by 32 bits, and a variable declared as long can hold an integer that can be represented by 64 bits. Similarly, a variable declared as float can hold any number including a decimal point that can be represented by 32 bits, and a variable declared as double can hold any number including a decimal point that can be represented by 64 bits. In general, there are multiple non-primitive and 8 primitive data types in Java. Therefore, declaring appropriate variable for the data that you want to store on it is very important as a programmer. Dears, we have decided what type of variable we need, which access modifier we apply, and what data type can a variable hold. Now it is time to decide its unique name, which is a variable name. In Java, variable names are identifiers used to represent storage locations for data in a program. We use a variable name to store and modify data on computer memory. Now we will see some rules and conventions for naming variables in Java. Rule 1. A variable name must begin with a letter, $, or underscore. For example, count is a correct variable name because it starts with a letter C. Likewise, $price is a correct variable name because it starts with $. And so on. Rule 2. Subsequent characters can be letters, digits, $signs, or underscores. Subsequent characters means in this case the characters which come after first character. For example, total amount, average underscore score, quantity 2 are all correct names of a variable. Rule 3, a variable name cannot be a Java keyword. There are many keywords in Java that can be used for special purposes. For example, int cannot be a variable name because int is a keyword used to decide a data type of a variable. Rule 4, variable names are case-sensitive, meaning that uppercase letters have totally different meaning than lowercase letters in variable name. For example, total with small t is totally different from total with capital T. Clear? Good. Rule 5, variable names cannot contain spaces. If you are declaring a variable name that has more than one word, link the word using underscore sign or just write it as one word, because spaces are not allowed in variable names. Rule 6, use meaningful names. Actually, this is not strict rule, but it is a good practice as a programmer. It is better to give a name that reflects the data they hold. For example, if you want to declare a variable that hold an age of a person, it is better to name a variable itself age rather than naming it a or x or y or something. Clear? Good. Now we chose a good name for our variable. Now it is time to decide, is it good to give an initial value for our variable or not? Giving initial value is known as initializing the variable. This is mandatory for final variable but optional for other types of variables. The last step in declaring a variable is putting a semicolon at the end. This is mandatory because it indicates that the variable declaration is completed. Now let's do some simple tasks. Task 1, declare a double variable, j, that is private and static. Double private static j. Do you think this is correct? No, it is wrong. Why? Because order of modifiers is not correct. Now another answer, private static double j. Do you think this is correct? No, it is wrong. Why? There is no semicolon at the end. Another answer, private static double j. Do you think this is correct? Yes. It is absolutely correct. Task 2. Declare a final variable j of type int. Final int j. Do you think this is correct? No, it is wrong. Why? Because a variable of type final must be initialized. Another answer, final int j equals 0. Do you think this is correct? Yes. It is absolutely correct. Task 3. Declare a public variable using any name and initialize it with 13.7. Public double 3 value equals 13.7. Do you think this is correct? No, it is wrong. Why? Because here the variable name starts with 3. And it is illegal. Another answer. Public double value 3 equals 13.7. Do you think this is correct? Yes. It is absolutely correct. Guys, this is all about a theoretical concepts of variables, and now we will see practical.
Okay, and now our Eclipse IDE is opened. Now let us go to File and let us create a Java project. And we can now give the name of our project tutorial 1 and finish it. Now the project is created and the projects and under source folder create the package project tutorial 1. The same name is the project, and under package let us create a class and it is again tutorial. And finish it. Now we have created our class tutorial under the package of tutorial 1. Now here we will try to see different types of variables based on the place where they are declared. Good. So as we have seen in the previous part, there are 3 different types of variables based on where the variables are declared. So the first type of variable is a class variable. Let us declare it first. I am going to declare a string variable which is name. Now this is a class variable. This is because the variable name is declared inside the class but outside any method. And let us use this variable in the main method, public void main, sorry, public static void main string args. Now we can use this method, this variable. Let us say name is equals to some string value like Mihiratu. This is a string value because our variable is type of string, but again it is showing that there is some error. This is because I am trying to access a non-static variable. The name this variable is non-static variable. I am trying to access it in a static method. This is not allowed in Java. Actually, the main method is always static. We cannot change this value, but we can change this one, and then we can say it is static. Sorry. Now the problem is gone. Let us display it. System dot out dot print. Let us display the name value. Now let us run it. Good, the name is displayed here, the value is displayed. We have declared a class variable and we used it here and we displayed the value of that variable. Now let us see the second type of variable, which is a local variable. Actually, the local variables are the variables which are declared in the body of method or constructor or a block. So we need a method to declare a local variables, but I'm not going to declare any method because I have one method which is a main method, and I'm going to declare a local variable right here. That is again string last name. Now this variable is local variable. Because it is declared in the body of main method. In the body of main method means between this area. Now let us assign the value for local variable. And then now let us display it. last name. Let us see it. So it is displaying right here, Miratu Kabbada. But I wanted to display these values, first name and the last name, on the same line. To do that, I'm going to remove ln from the first statement. It displays on the same line, but again I need a space between the first name and the last name. To do that, just go to here. We can add space after this variable or before this variable. So I'm just going to put after this variable. No space is added, and let us see the difference. No better. There's a space between first name and the last name. And we have seen a class variable and a local variable. The third type of variable is a parameter variable. Actually, parameter variables are the variables which are declared as a part of method. So in this case, we just need to declare about a method, because method is mandatory to declare parameter variables. So let us declare a method which is public void display name, a method which displays some name, a string fname. Now this is a method that we have created just now, and this is the name of method, and we did something right here, which is declaring a string variable fname. So this is a parameter. Fname is a parameter variable because it is declared as a part of method declaration. During method declaration, we have created a parameter as a signature of method, and that is why we call it as a parameter variable. Actually, these parameter variables are very important, especially when you try to pass a value to the method during a method call. You use these parameter variables to put some value in method calling procedure. Now let us write some displaying code, which is system.println. Just we can use this value. You can copy it or just you can cut it, because we are going to display the name in display name method. Paste it here, and you can just change name into fname. Okay. Now we will call this method with some value as fname, and we will try to see what will happen. Okay. Display name with some value. That is, we can just use this name value to pass the value. Now what we are going to do is we are going to pass the value of name, which is Miratu, to this method, to display method. So this value will be assigned to a fname variable, and it will be displayed by system.out.print function. Here it is showing some error because again I'm trying to access a non-static method. As you see here, this is non-static method. Display name is non-static method, and I'm trying to use it in static method. That is not allowed in Java. I am going to make it static. Okay, here's a method naming system again. Now the problem is gone, and let us run it and see what will happen. Actually, it is working as expected. We have seen the three different types of variables based on the place where they declared. And we have seen the class variable here, we have seen the local variable right here, and we have seen the parameter variable right here. Now we will try to see three different types of variables based on the actual behavior of the variables. Based on actual behavior. Good. Actually, there are three different types of variables, which are instance variable, static variable, and the final variable. Now we are going to declare instance variable, which is one of the three different types of variables based on the actual behavior. This is a instance variable. Instance variables are the variables which are declared inside the method but outside of any method, so that the instance of the class can use this variable. So these variables are accessible or usable by instance of the classes. That means we are going to create instance of the class to use this variable. Instance of the class means nothing but the object of the class which are declared or created using the name of the class. Now copy the name of class to create instance of the class and paste it here, and let us create one instance. New instance. This is instance of the class. Let us add one additional instance for more clarification about the instance variables. Here, instance 1 is the first instance of the class, and instance 2 is the second instance of the class. Now let us try to use the instance variables by using instance of the class. Copy this one. Instance 1 dot age is equals to 25. Okay, the second instance can also access the same variable. Instance 2 dot age is equals to 27. Okay, just what we are doing right here is we are trying to access instance variables by declaring instance of the class. So each instance can use instance variable independently. So if we have 1,000 instance of the class, so this all 1,000 instance of the class can use the single instance variables by giving their own values. Now let us try to display this value. System dot out dot parent and you can just copy this line to display the second instance value, instance 2. Okay, let us run now. Run. As you see here, two different values are displayed. So we have used instance of the class to access instance variable. Here we haven't used any instance of the class because the variable name is not instance variable, it is a class variable. That's one difference between instance variable and a class variable. Now let us see the second type of variable, which is static variable. Actually, I'm not going to declare another static variable because I've already declared a static variable here. So just we will try to see the differences very clearly. Now, in order to show you the difference between the static variable and the instance variable clearly, I am going to give different values for instance static variable. Let me try to give some different values for static variable by using just as the same way as I used for instance variable, which is instance 1 dot name. No problem. Okay, let me give some value like instance 2 dot name is Balai. So let us display these values as we have did right here. Copy this one. Instance 1 dot name, instance 2 dot name. Now let us see what will happen. As you see here, the first name is displayed accordingly. The age is displayed independently, 25 and 27. But in a static variable displayed like this, Balai, which is this name. This is applied for all the instances, or even the instance 1 dot name is changed to Balai. We have assigned the value Edamo for instance 1 dot name, but it is changed to Balai. Why? Because this is a basic difference between instance variable and the static variable. When you change the static variable, or when you try to modify static variable, it will be modified for all the instances. But you can modify or change or assign independent values for instance variable. Now let us see the last type of variable, which is a final variable. Let us declare a final variable here. Final. The final variables are declared using the final keyword. Final of type car grade. I'm going to declare a grade variable. Now I have declared the final variable. As you see here, it shows an error because final variables should be assigned a value where they are declared. So I'm trying to give some value that is A. The grade is A. Now let me use this value and let me display it here, or using this statement. Grade final static, because it is using the static method. Great. When you try to access a variable in static method, you have to change, or you have to make a variable static. Run it. You can see that A is displayed. Now let me try to change the value of a final variable to make it clear for you. Here, let me try to change it. Here, grade is equals to B. As you see, it shows the an error. So this is because I cannot change the value of a final variable once it is assigned. This is not because I'm trying to use a non-static variable. Actually, I have made it static here. But anyways, it is shown that there is an error. This is because static variables, final variables are not changeable. They are unchangeable variables. So these variables are unchangeable variables. So this is the basic difference between three different types of variables. And thank you for watching my video. If you have comments or question, just write it, and please subscribe and share my channel. Thank you.